and he's going to house it.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another Angle of Pursuit podcast, your fantasy football, sports betting, and NASCAR home. I'm your host, Kyle Robert. Follow me on Twitter at NotoriousKRO. With me is Brian Twining. What's up, Brian?
What's up, Kyle? Yeah, we're recording this prior to the big one down in the desert. I'm pretty excited for that game, even with all the dang injuries that kind of, putting a black cloud over this matchup. But I mean, 13-1 combined record. You couldn't ask for anything more to open week 8.
Yeah, I think it'll be somewhat fun. Sure does feel like Arizona's going to cover, but we'll have to keep an eye. I feel like this game's either going to be really competitive, really fun, or it's going to be a blowout, and we're going to hate it.
And it'll be like Packers week 1 versus Tampa?
I tweeted it out.
Or versus New Orleans?
I bet Kyler Murray's rushing prop under. Don't. The Pack love to allow rushing yards to opposing quarterbacks, but ever since getting banged up back against, I think, the Rams, he's just not running the same. 10, 6, 1 his last 3 attempts. So banking on that, the money on is going to the over, though. So don't love it, but it was just something I had to get in on. I had too strong of a feeling, but as we've seen of late, my feels are definitely off. But Brian, we're going to get the card tidy again this week. We're going to get back to our principles.
Yes,
I'm going to go back to a few teams. I'm going to go back to my quarterback rushing props. But I did want to mention that I obviously tweeted out. You won't be able to see it before the game, but wanted to mention that out. Make sure you smash that thumbs up if you're enjoying the show. Make sure you hit that like button. It really does do a lot for us. We're going to jump into it. We're going to talk our favorite games for the week. We're going to talk our favorite props for the week. We're going to give you some other thoughts. Brian's got his teaser, but make sure you smash that thumbs up. Make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you tell a friend. All of those things go a long way in helping us grow, helping our content grow, and hopefully keeping these coming each and every week and helping you build some bankroll. So, Brian, we have about 4 plays that we're going to jump into, plus then we'll hit a props and other stuff, but I do want to run through some other things at the end. Let's start with the showdown between the Buffalo Bills and Miami Dolphins, and you're on the over in this spot.
Yeah, the last time these two teams played, I was hammering the over in that spot too. It was a game where Miami, they lost Tua, and then Buffalo just absolutely steamrolled them, not allowing Miami to even find the end zone, I don't think. But the Dolphins offense the last 2 weeks has looked really good with Tua back under the helm. I think that this is a spot where they're able to at least score twice in this game, and then you're really only hoping for Buffalo to continue doing what they're doing, put up a 30 spot, 31. So I just think that this is a game where you get to see Miami's offense, which has kind of molded into this pass heavy amoeba, which teams cannot just stack the box against them, forcing Tua to throw. Teams are having to back out, which is opening up a little bit of running lanes for Myles Gaskin. So I think that this is one of my favorite plays of the week, especially with Buffalo coming off of the bye here. Although there'll be minus Dawson Knox, but the rest of the pass catchers are going to be healthy. The backfield is going to be healthy. Josh Allen gets, a week off. I love this play.
Yep. I am simpatico. I will ride it with you, but I'm going to ride it with the Buffalo Bills minus the 14. Buffalo is a team with Josh Allen that has crushed Miami. We can go back to 2019. Where they've won and covered by, I think, double digits. Let's see. So 2019, Bills 31-21. 2019, Bills 37, Dolphins 20. 2020 was the one that was close, 31-28. And then both games in 2021 when the Bills have really hit their stride, 56-26 and 35-0.
There you go.
I think the Bills win. I think the Bills cover, and I think the over hits.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say.
I hate betting overs. I hate betting big favorites. But I think in this spot between these teams, as good, Tua has looked better. And I from a fantasy and or DFS angle, I like him. I like some of the pass catchers. But the Dolphins are clearly broken. Like they're not the same team we saw last year. I think Xavier Howard getting traded is not crazy. And I saw ESPN had some trade rumors before there are trades that should happen before the before the deadline, and one of them was Xavier Howard to the Titans, which would,
You would love that.
based on our secondary, I mean, I would be ecstatic for that to
Yeah.
happen. But yeah, Bills coming off the bye, I think they play amazing. I think they win cover with ease. I think they could easily. I think they might even go to the over on their own. So
Woo,
uh,
that's a bold call right there. So
take the Bills, take the over, parlay it, tease it, whatever you want to do. I think this is the move this week.
that's basically also giving a suggestion. You might want to take Buffalo's team total, which is currently sitting at 31.5, and bet that over.
Yeah, I like that too. I think they could easily score 33, 35, 40 points. I mean,
Yeah.
could be a big week for Josh Allen and the boys. Let's go to the next game on your card and talk about the Seattle Seahawks that are now 3.5-point favorites against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Talk to me about this game here.
Yeah, so I talked about this on our weekly preview show. This was a spot that I was betting right at that moment as a 3-point favorite, and it's climbed up a half a point.
Yep.
I think the showing that they put up on Monday night, although they wound up losing, it really shows that if they can get any semblance of decent quarterback play out of Geno Smith, this is a team that is still going to be competitive. And now they face potentially the worst coached team in the NFL in Jacksonville. Even off of a bye, I just don't see the Jaguars being able to compete with Seattle, especially with Alex Collins seemingly coming out of that game unscathed. This rushing offense has looked astronomically better. Last week, New Orleans is one of the toughest teams to run on, but this offense has looked better on the ground with Collins in the backfield and Geno Smith at quarterback. If they could just get the ball to DK and Tyler Lockett, I think they've run away with this game, and it's over quick.
Yeah. So my concern, I love it at 3. I think getting it at 3 was the move. 3.5. While you still like it, I'm a little less optimistic on it. I do wonder, like, both these coaching staffs really want to run the ball, and I'm wondering, like, they just run the whole clock, and Pete escapes with a small win. I hate 24-20 is very possible. The total opened at 48. It's down to 44 already. 40% of the bets on the under, 80% of the money. I like the under in this spot. I think that makes a ton of sense. I tend to take. I think I would bet, if I had to bet it, I would bet Jacksonville. Just getting that extra hook. But yeah, it's ugly. Even with the move, I think I'm betting that I'd rather just bet the under and kind of let both these offenses stink. Like, what we saw on Monday night was pathetic. Like,
it was pretty
DK
bad.
looked absolutely amazing for his first couple catches. Then they're like, you know what? He's too good. We're just not going to throw him the ball.
I did not understand the game plan. I will say, though, that you can definitely see the difference between a Geno Smith as compared to a Russell Wilson, because they were pointing it out on the broadcast how anytime there was any sort of pressure to his arm side, it was immediate. He was rolling out. There was no, let me step up into the pocket to maintain this play. It was, I need to scramble outside.
Yeah,
so the plays couldn't.
Press Virginia, Geno Smith coming out at the next level.
Yes, exactly. That I think
I
that's
do
their
wonder
big
if this
problem.
is a team that would, if they somehow end up getting rid of Russell Wilson, they fire Pete Carroll, they could move DK, and they could revamp this team. Especially if you look, the Niners have Trey Lance, and they still pretty talented. Plus, you have Arizona, who looks like the best team in football, and the Rams, who are really good now with Matthew Stafford. I wonder if Seattle sees the writing on the wall and decides to punt. There could be a few interesting opportunities for a post Seattle Russell Wilson, including New Orleans, including Atlanta,
Yeah, very
including
true.
Pittsburgh. So that could, just aside, that could be fun. Speaking of that division, I am going to be on the San Francisco 49ers minus the 4. I know it's on the road. I can't get this Niners team. Like, I can't stop thinking they're good. Like, I know, and maybe it says more about the Colts, but like that torrential rainstorm game, it wasn't exactly like that levels the playing field a little bit. I think the defense is still really good, even though the secondary sucks. And we saw last week that even with Tampa Bay's terrible secondary, Justin Fields can't throw the ball. That offense is an absolute mess. It should be so much better with the weapons they have. They're gonna, want to run the ball. The Niners are gonna play good defense. They're gonna do enough on offense. Hopefully, Trey Lance gets back in the fold this week,
Yep.
and I think the Niners make a little bit of a statement here, even on the road, and cover the 4 with some ease.
Yeah, I am in lockstep with you on this pick right here. Chicago is a mess right now. The offensive line is horrendous. Fields, we talked about this too. Like, I don't want to give too much credit to the opposing teams for limiting what Fields is doing when it's hard to develop a quarterback when it's literally take the snap. Oh crap, I have a guy in my face. So, he has no time to work his progressions. San Francisco, if they do get Trey Lance back, that just makes defending them a million times harder because you're going to see situations where him and Garoppolo are probably in the backfield. You're going to see him lining up at quarterback. Teams aren't going to know if he's running, if he's passing. Like, Chicago's defense is banged up right now. Khalil Mack is missing practice again this week. We'll see if he suits up. Akeem Hicks is still hurt. Robert Quinn is still in the COVID protocol. Like, Chicago's just beat up. San Francisco's getting healthier. Yeah, I think San Francisco handles this game pretty
And
easily.
the Bears haven't really seen a mobile quarterback all year. Like, the best case scenario for a mobile quarterback is probably Joe Burrow or Aaron Rodgers. Like, they've faced Brady, Rodgers, Derek Carr, Jared Goff, who had Baker Mayfield, who ran for 31 yards on them. Aaron Rodgers had 19, Derek Carr 10. Like, these aren't rushing quarterbacks, and they're still rushing on them. So
yeah,
I think it's a good opportunity for the Niners. Like, this could be a Trey Lance breakout game where he runs for like 80 yards and a touchdown, and things are going to get even uglier when the Bears face Lamar Jackson, Kyler Murray, and some of those guys in the coming weeks. But it could be some interesting places to look when we're looking at rushing props, Brian.
Yeah, yes.
But yeah, I'm all over the Niners here. I think they're in a fantastic spot, and do you want to?
I was gonna say real quick. I think this is the week where taking futures for coach to be fired, you might want to bet Matt Nagy, because if they go out, put up another stinker in this spot at home against a floundering 49ers team right now, this could be the situation where they're finally like, all right, we cannot deal with you anymore.
So it's a weird situation because, like, it feels like a spot where they kind of just ride it out and get ready to do it next year. I don't know if they necessarily have somebody in place, but they also have a rookie quarterback. Like, I don't want to see Justin Fields spend the whole year just getting obliterated, and then his confidence is gone, and then he's the next, David Carr or whatever.
Yeah,
like, just
true.
some guy that never really gets to his full potential, because I think he can be a special player at the NFL level. Do you want to hit some other lines, or do you want to talk your teaser first?
Let's get into that teaser.
All right, let's hit the teaser.
I'm feeling good.
There's some interesting options in there. You got a little aggressive. I like it. Break down the teaser for everybody so they know who to target this week.
All right, so I'm going a little risky in this spot here. It's actually moved up a half a point, so I'd be getting it slightly bigger. But I'm
Are you doing 6.5, or 7?
6 points. I'm taking the lowest amount of like juice I'm having to pay for these. I'm finding games that still make sense with just the 6.
Yep.
Okay, so Panthers at Falcons. Traditionally, you look at this matchup, you're going to say, oh man, it's going to be offense galore. It's going to be tons of scoring, blah, blah, blah. I wouldn't necessarily go there. So I like teasing this up right now. It'd be about 52.5 and taking the under here. And I think the reason for that is Atlanta wants to run the ball. You've seen them get a little bit more committed to that. Carolina is a train wreck on offense. I mean, Sam Darnold looks like the Jets Sam Darnold right now.
So sad. I was so pumped with him.
Yeah, they look like last year's version of the Panthers, where they can just not complete drives and they can't get into the end zone minus Christian McCaffrey. So I think that this is a spot that it's a surprisingly lower scoring affair. I think Atlanta kind of controls the game. Carolina does their thing, a couple big plays here and there, but for the most part, they're not able to get into the end zone.
Yep, and the line opened at 49.5 and is down to 46.5, so you're getting back above that number where it opened. So you're getting in a really good spot. I think this is a good option for those looking to add another leg to their teaser.
Yeah, and then my next one, I'm going with them again. I'm taking a shot. I think that after last week's embarrassment, Sean McVay and the crew, they get back on the horse and they just start destroying people again. I'm teasing the Rams. They're currently a 14.5, 15-point favorite this weekend against the Texans. Whether they have Tyrod Taylor or not, I just don't think that Houston's going to be able to score on this team. Getting the Rams under double digits here, I think, is the play. Especially they kind of saw that they let a lesser team stay in the game with them last week, and it probably opened their eyes like, hey, we can't take our foot off the gas pedal here. So I like the Rams to come out firing on all cylinders this week. And then my favorite one of the week is getting Tampa Bay. When I did it, they were a 6-point favorite. They're down to a 4.5-point favorite here. So you could tease them into a dog and get them with the points on the road in New Orleans. I don't care who's hurt for Tampa Bay. I don't care who's coming back for New Orleans. With Jameis Winston under center, I do not trust them going up against a Tom Brady-led team. So give me the Buccaneers pretty much at any number other than over 3, especially on the road. So I'm teasing the Bucs. I had it at a pick 'em, but right now you can get them if you tease this down to plus 2.5, which is great. And then my last one, Washington football team, teasing this up to getting 9 on the road against Denver. Denver has a good defense, but they're just like Washington. They cannot play consistent offense and find the end zone. And I think Washington has shown enough that if they can just kind of, get their red zone offense together a little bit and punch in a few scores, like they're hanging with Green Bay last week, even potentially taking that to overtime. So I think Washington is an undervalued team this week. I actually like them on the money line as a potential sleeper to upset Denver on the road this week. So I'm teasing this line up to 9.
So let's talk about that game because that was on the forefront of my head. Is Washington good? Like, what are we doing? Because I feel like we keep lining up to back them, and I feel like every week, like despite moving the ball effectively and looking somewhat solid and having numbers that make you think, man, this is actually not a terrible team. They on offense they can't put the ball in the end zone, and on the defense, they can't stop opposing passing games. And maybe Teddy Bridgewater isn't that guy, but Jerry Judy's back this week. I'm a little concerned. Now, will Denver blow them out and kill you on a tease? Probably not. But my head says take Washington plus the 3. But I Denver seems like the right side in this spot.
Yeah, I think this is a spot where coming into the season, I really liked Washington again because of their defense, which hasn't played up to snide like what we had expected. They're still getting to the quarterback, but it's at the back end where they're really being hurt. And I do think that Denver is slightly limited with whoever's in the backfield throwing the ball, whether it's Bridgewater or Drew Lock in that sense, even with Judy coming back. And when you look at Washington's schedule to open the season, their first 7 games have been against the Chargers, the Giants, you can kick them out, Buffalo, Atlanta, New Orleans, Kansas City, Green Bay, all teams that we expected coming into this year to be in playoff contention. And Washington has been in the majority of those games and or beaten. Like they beat the Giants, who, the Giants aren't any good, but they beat Atlanta, who Atlanta has really turned the corner these last few weeks. And last week, like I said, against Green Bay, the final score is not show the true picture of the way that game went. I mean, they had every opportunity to be in the lead there. So I think that Washington is a much better team than their 2-5 record reflects, which is why I like them with getting that big number on the road.
Yeah, man, that game scares me. I think that's one to avoid, but on a teaser, I think it makes a lot more sense.
And I also think that it's safer to play them on the money line as a dog than it is to take the points because they have shown the inability to get into the end zone. So
let's talk about that Texans Rams game because it looks like Tyrod's going to play this week.
That's what it's leading to. Yes.
Does that matter? Does that? I think I think it makes a difference. Now I don't know if it's going to make enough of a difference. The Texans are at home. They're getting 14.5 points.
That's a lot.
I know I want to back McVay and as a big favorite, and typically he has, and maybe I'm just letting last week play way too much into my head, but um, you know, part of me really wants to back the Texans again, and I don't know why. I keep lining up to bet these garbage ass teams, but
I will say the last time that we had Houston at home as a big dog was against New England, and they smash spot right there.
yeah, I mean, I
So,
had them against Arizona, but that was, I think, more about
well,
the Arizona and less about the
yeah,
Texans. But
yeah, exactly.
yeah, trading away Mark Ingram, less carries for him is always a good thing. Getting Tyrod back, that's always a good thing. That 14 and a half, if you I'm going to do it. It's going to probably end up killing me, but I'm adding it to the card. Texans plus 14 and a half is happening. I don't, it's just, it's too many points. I like
The
the
one
Rams.
thing, the one thing I will say about that game is, if you remove the trick plays that Detroit pulled off early in that game, which normally in the first quarter on the first and second drives, you do not see that kind of play calling. The Rams dominated Detroit, and they should have won that game by the 16, by the 17. Now you're going up against a very traditional coaching staff in Houston, who
By
is,
traditionally mean terrible.
yes, but they're also like the old man crew. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
those guys come from the Bill Belichick tree. You're not going to see them pulling out the onside kicks, the fake punts, the stuff like that. So I worry that if they get behind early and they're forced to throw, they just cannot do that offensively efficiently enough to prevent the opposing team from doubling them up on total plays too.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And the Rams secondary has been decent enough. I know.
I will say Jalen Ramsey did not practice today for the Rams, so that's something to definitely monitor for a potential Brandon Cooks game.
It's super gross, but I'm gonna roll with it.
Oof.
I won't do it because I'm a Titans fan, but I think the Colts are absolutely the right side here, getting minus 1.5 at home. I love Tennessee. I love where we're at, but this sure feels like a spot where they come in with all the highs and get smacked in the face by a physical Colts team that seems to be putting some stuff together and
They're
figuring
pretty
stuff
good. They're
out and
playing good.
getting healthier on the defensive end. Um, running the ball effectively, all that good stuff.
I will say your Titans are getting healthier though. I mean, AJ Brown looked great. And if they can open up that passing game, that's just going to create more opportunities for Derrick Henry to start smashing. So,
Yep. The last major game that I really want to make sure we hit on is Vikings Cowboys. This is Vikings are a 1.5 point favorite at home. Sunday nighter.
didn't I say that? Remember, I talked. Look ahead. Take the Vikings plus 2.5 because this
Yeah.
line was going to change.
Yep. I think you want to back Minnesota here.
I've been kind of thinking the same thing because Dallas is not going to want to put Dak in a situation to be suspect to Minnesota's great pass rush, which is what they've been doing the best on their defensive side of the ball, although they're minus Patrick Peterson. So they're going to try to run the ball, which if this is a close contest and you're going up against a Dalvin Cook, Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins is right up there with Dak Prescott in terms of their fourth quarter abilities. So yeah, and you're going into a game in Minnesota, raucous crowd. Like I am also leaning the Vikings as a Cowboys fan in this spot.
So my only hesitation here, my only thing that's holding me back from pulling the trigger. The Vikings do this dance, and maybe the Cowboys will like kind of force them to not do it, but they like to let teams hang around and let
Yes.
teams get back into games that they shouldn't have a shot in. And if they do that with Dallas absolutely has the horses to not only come back but end up blowing them out and dominating the game basically from that point. So my concern is that Minnesota's up 27-14 or something going into the middle of the third quarter or the beginning of the fourth quarter, and then Dak all of a sudden throws 2 touchdowns, and it's 28-27, and then they add on another Zeke long run, and then all of a sudden, it's gone from the Vikings covering with ease to Dallas just basically rolling them and looking like another, having another awesome win on their resume. So that would be my biggest concern from throwing it on the card.
Yeah, I'll also add too, like, I think it's currently at a spot, like it's in a sweet spot right now, regardless of which side you're on. Because if you're on the if you're banking on Dak playing and you think that they're the better team, getting them as a dog, like a money line dog right now on the road, that's great considering they are, considered one of the best teams in the NFC, and vice versa. If you're on the side of Minnesota and you think that they're going to take this game, regardless of whether or not Dak starts, getting them at less than a field goal with the possibility of Dak being deemed out is a great value right now, because if he misses the game, this is going up to 3.5.
Well, it's interesting. I'm looking at it over on the Action Network, and it's pretty much 2.5 across the board for the Vikings. Our friends over at Bovada are throwing out a wild ass -1.5, so that's interesting.
Ooh, maybe we should take that.
Yeah, it's -120, so the juice is definitely there. But yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Man, Vikings at home, getting a field goal. That my head says take the Vikings, but like the contrarian in me goes, it's -2.5 for the home team. It's a primetime game. They're trying to get people to load up on Minnesota because they know they're going to get a ton of money on Dallas.
Yeah, it's true.
But maybe that's just a balance out thing and not a we think the Cowboys are just that much better. Like, what's the in terms of defense for your Cowboys? Everyone healthy? Everyone good to go as far as you know?
Yeah, I mean, the only concern coming into the bye week was that Travion Diggs was dealing with an ankle injury, but he's practicing fine. And other than that, everyone is healthy. However, like I said, going into that Patriots game, they're giving up yards. It's not like they're playing, Chicago.
They're getting key turnovers at the right time.
Exactly.
It's helping to settle
and
stuff.
it's banking on the turnovers, which yes, that's good, but a lot of times that does not come. And if anything that we've seen recently out of Kirk Cousins is he's not turning the ball over right now. So
this really feels like a game where no one's going to want to win it, and it's going to come down to a weird play at the end. I'm not going to add it to my card. If I had to bet it, Minnesota would probably be the side. Outside of that, the Jets. Oh
no, give me Cincinnati.
10.5, man.
Give me the Bengals.
I agree. 85% of the bets are on the Bengals, but only 54% of the money. It's early, 15,000 bets at this point with that juice.
Jets are at 16.5 team points right now.
Mike White. That's what we're doing. What is it? 16.5?
16.5. Yeah.
Under. I will take Jets. That's the bet right there. Then I don't have to worry about anything. Because then if it's 13-10 or whatever, I don't have to worry about it. Jets under 16.5.
I mean, but honestly, that's crazy thinking that that's like a real line for an NFL team. But like, it's favored to go under in this spot.
Are the Jets an NFL team? Are we sure about that?
Also, I mean, to add worse to this is the fact that Corey Davis for the Jets popped up on the injury report today. Not that he's a world beater, but I mean, he's like their best guy on the outside. So,
he's an actual NFL player, so that's something.
Yeah, so if you take him out of the rotation, like you're going down to Jamison Crowder and Elijah Moore, who Moore has a lot, it's going to be dynamic, but that's 2 slot receivers playing the 1 and 2 here. So not looking good for the Jets.
Let's talk props. I have a couple good ones. I have a gross one that I love.
And I got one.
And I think I might finagle, but we'll see. So I'll go first. The gross one that I love, the aforementioned Jets. Mike White over 2.5 rushing yards.
I could get on board with this. I mean,
all I need is 3. All I need is 3. I know it's not pretty, but I think he'll be running for his life. I think He'll try and, I'm not asking for 100 yards. I'm not even asking for 10 yards. I'm asking for 3. I think as long as he doesn't end up getting sacked like 17 times and losing all these yards on that, I think he can absolutely get there. Staying with the New York, New Jersey metropolitan area, I will take Daniel Jones over 28.5 rushing yards. We didn't really talk about the Chiefs, who are clearly a mess, but they, I think they bounce back. I think they look good. But I also know this Chiefs team likes to give up rushing yards to the quarterback. We targeted Josh Allen in a very similar spot. I will take Daniel Jones. His prop total is set at 28.5 right now. I think
which
he
is
can absolutely
criminally low, by the
yeah.
way.
I'm taking Khalil Herbert over 15.5 rush attempts. I hate going with overs, but this is where I fell this week, so I'll probably go horribly. But he is a guy who sees 17 or 18 touches, even in games where Damian Williams played, where other players have played. I think the Bears, no matter how much they're up or down, are going to want to run the ball. I think Khalil Herbert easily gets to 16, probably in the 18 to 20 range in terms of carries. I think he absolutely gets there. And then and that's it. Those are my 4 locked in, or what's that, 3 locked in player props.
Yeah, I can definitely get behind the 2 quarterback rushing props. The one thing I will say about Khalil Herbert, I think there's a slight possibility that last week with Damian Williams, they were kind of easing him back into the rotation, coming off the COVID list.
Yeah.
And with Matt Nagy being head coach, coming from the Andy Reid thing of, they really did not want to play Justin Fields. So it's hard for me to think that they're just going to go, oh, here you go, 6th round rookie. You could be our lead back and carry the load all by yourself. So I'm slightly worried about that, even though he's clearly the better of the 2 backs. I think there's a possibility Williams gets worked in a little bit more than we saw last week.
Yeah, and the first game where he really saw a good bulk of carries was against the Raiders, where they were up 20-9. But he saw 18 carries in a game where Damian Williams also saw like 16.
Yeah.
So
well, they clearly want to keep the ball on the ground.
So I think he runs it plenty. I think Damian Williams, if he cuts in, he cuts more in on the passing game work.
Yeah, for me, player prop wise, we said this a couple weeks ago. I've been absolutely terrible, so I'm trying to stick to one or 2 a week. So this week I'm going. I love this Bengals team against the Jets defense. The Jets have been getting crushed on the ground of late. So for me, Joe Mixon over 73.5 rushing yards. He's been getting healthier each week. And last week, he ceded some carries to Samaje Perine, but Mixon looked every bit as healthy as he did in week 1. So I think that this is a spot where Mixon gets highlighted here as they're dominating early. And as long as he reaches this prior to the end of the 3rd quarter, I think he gets there pretty comfortably.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. I'd also look at his attempts. I think he runs plenty. Yardage is probably a little bit safer in a game like this, but it's definitely something you can get to. Where are we at with Nick Chubb? Is he all systems go for Sunday?
So he's been limited. It's leading in the direction that he's gonna play, but I do not see them just going, oh, here you go, full load. Like, especially whether or not Mayfield's going to play. So it's looking like they're both going to come back. Baker Mayfield is looking like he's going to start, but this is against Pittsburgh, mind you.
Yeah. He's somebody they're not listing any of the Browns rushing props because there's so much questions, but if they list a low enough number, I will be on that. I also don't hate Eli Mitchell over 72.5. I think can run on the Bears. I think he's clearly their running back of choice. And I think that could be another interesting spot to dive in.
Especially if Trey Lance is back there with that RPO going on, it's going to be difficult for defenders to choose him or Mitchell. So yes, yep. I like that play.
All right, Brian, we talked some bets, we talked some line movement, we talked some props, we talked some all kinds of fun stuff. That leaves us with one thing and one thing only. What is your best bet for NFL week number 8?
Well, I'm going to go up to Buffalo, and I think this is going to be a shootout. I think this has the potential of being the week's highest scoring game. So my best bet of the week is going to be Dolphins at Bills over 49.5 points.
Yeah, I don't fault you for going there. Screw it, I'll roll with you. I'll take Bills minus 14. That's
Oh,
my
man.
best bet.
The
So,
last time we did this was
Lo-
with the Rams.
load up on the Dolphins. Just Dolphins
Yep.
money line.
Take the
Bet
under. Yeah.
Just do it. So, all right, Brian, this is good times. Hopefully we rebound nicely and get this train back on the tracks because it was rolling and we had good steam going. So that's Brian Twining. I'm Kyle Robert. Make sure you smash that thumbs up if you're still watching. Make sure you
Yes,
hit the
please.
like button. Let us know down in the comments your favorite bet, prop, side, total, whatever it may be for week number 8. And we'll be back next week to recap week number 8, talk week number 9, and then back again on Friday to recap it all. If you hit the little bell notification, you'll know whenever new content goes live. And we'll talk to y'all next time.